Hey, and welcome to the Weed Out, where we weed out the bullshit and talk about the nonsense happening in our backyard. I'm Spencer Fox Peterson. I'm flying solo today. Joanna can't be with us, but as always, she's here with us in spirit. She does a lot of the behind the scenes work. Um, she manages all the profiles and all that stuff. So Joanna is missed on the show, but she's still with us. And it's spring. We're recording this on April 15th, so unfortunately it's tax day. Paying for bombs day and no healthcare and unaffordable education. Anyways, I'm so happy to announce who's going to be on the show with us today. It's some students from Smith College. I'm going to let them introduce themselves, Saturn and Renal. And what they are working with is Smith's SJP, correct? So the students, tell us what SJP stands for.
Yeah, so SJP stands for Students for Justice in Palestine.
Yeah. We are a decentralized organization that works to liberate Palestine in any way that we can. Currently, we're focused on pressuring the administration of Smith College to divest from all weapons manufacturing. They claim that we are negligibly invested, with their statistic of having 1% of our $2 billion endowment invested in weapons manufacturing. And if you do some math there, you can see that 1% of 2 billion is like $25 million, still a crazy amount of money to be going into weapons manufacturing. We're invested in Raytheon, L3 Harris, Boeing, all the terrible, evil companies that are actively killing Palestinians in Gaza right now. And that's our main goal for the rest of the semester. But we have some others as well.
Yeah, prior to the sit-in, we were also working and we will be working on these goals in the upcoming months as well, is starting a scholarship fund for Palestinian students. We know that Smith has done a similar scholarship fund for students in South Africa during apartheid. So we're working on getting that scholarship running.
Another of our goals is to shut down L3 Harris, which has a huge building literally a mile away from us, just down the road in Northampton. So we are hoping to work with groups like Demilitarize Western Mass and Anti-Imperialist Action Committee, all based in Western Mass, to shut down L3 and shut down their work, shut down their production of weapons that are killing people. And we are also working on persuading Smith or urging Smith to create a care fund for Arab and Muslim students who are impacted by the genocide in Palestine, specifically any Palestinians who have any family that they know are struggling, but also Arab and Muslim students who have experienced racial profiling and increased attacks of Islamophobia on our campus. We're working on getting Smith to both acknowledge that these incidents are happening and also creating places and safe spaces where these Arab and Muslim students can go to process their emotions and also feel safe on this campus as they deserve to.
And they absolutely do. And I just want to shout out Demilitarize Western Mass. They've actually been on the show in the past to discuss their actions against L3 Harris. So anybody curious more about that, you can go back and listen to that episode. It was about 3-4 months ago, I think. I can't remember the exact time off our head. We had representatives from Demilitarize on, but they've been doing lots of great direct action. I'm glad to hear that you're in touch with them. And it's through coalition building, decentralized, no emphasis on hierarchy and more about working together and coming to the table with what we're all able to do in our own capacities. So kudos to y'all. And I guess I know this isn't really about you guys, you two specifically, but are you from the Western Mass area? How did you get here because of Smith? Like, I'm just curious because I'm not either, but I've been here long enough where I kind of am. But you don't have to go into specifics. But did you come out here specifically because of Smith College?
Yes, there's very little in Western Massachusetts. I'm from Dallas, Texas. So it's about a 25-hour drive. And I don't know, Smith made a lot of promises to us and has not kept any of them. But
how old are you, Saturn?
I'm 20.
what year?
I'm I'm a junior right now. Yeah.
And what about you, Renal?
I'm a first year, so yeah, it's been a really interesting first year experience at Smith. I'm from Mecca in Saudi Arabia. Born there, raised there for a little bit, but my family primarily lives in Durham, North Carolina. So we're both from the South. Um, I came to Smith because they promised me an activist environment in which my ambitions could grow amongst the leaders of tomorrow. And what I've received from Smith is a destabilizing environment in which I've experienced extreme amounts of Islamophobia. So, some promises
Yeah.
made there that cannot be
Liberal
kept.
Massachusetts. They tell
Yeah.
you that it's so much better than the South, but
No, like we're as both of us are from the South, and like I think we've talked about this
yeah.
that like we've experienced more racism up here than we did in the South.
Yeah.
Because it's like it's a very covert racism. It's a racism and where like where are you really from, and not just like calling you a slur, But
I
yeah.
can attest to that. I'm Massachusetts born and raised. I grew up in Quincy, Mass. The audience may remember. I've told a little bit about it, but I grew up in a working class town similar to like the Hollyoaks, the Westfields. It's since been gentrified. It's the first city south of Boston, so it's a completely different place than when I grew up in. But I can attest, like the Jews are over there, the Italians are over there, the Irish are over here, and this would be in Quincy, and we don't have black people in Quincy to this day. But Quincy, in my opinion, is a sundown town. Like I know people that are police officers that I grew up and I dissociated a long time ago, but not to show my age, but I've always felt it in my bones that the whole progressive label of New England. I used to be kind of apathetic white guy in college. I don't have to give a shit, right? But as I became politically aware and because of work conditions, etc., I've come to the similar conclusion where I think these people are all full of shit.
Yep.
Yeah.
They are full of shit.
And
it's
Northampton specifically, we think it's a progressive place, but the fangs of the Zionism that has come out in a place like Northampton is crazy.
Yep. Yeah. I think I really see it in a lot of like my white peers who see these like black and brown bodies in the sit-in putting our lives on the line, like thinking we're about to be arrested, and like we are like I'm like on a Zoom call like pleading with these people like please come in, it's less dangerous if there's more of us, especially if there's more white people in here. The police in Northampton will treat you so well, like they see you and they see a human being, and they see us and they see nothing. They don't see human beings when they look at us. And just the apathy that I met with like when I'm like pleading with these people and like none of them come in, it was really, really disheartening to see, especially in a place that claims to be so progressive, such an activist school. Like none of that is true without the black and brown people running this place.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And it's just been so hard because like what happens in like liberal Massachusetts blue states is you get like the faux activism. People can like repost Instagram stories, but there are actions happening on their campus that they don't want to participate in, and they assume that because we're participating in these actions that we're privileged, but we have a lot less privilege than they have.
And to comment on it's a lot safer when there are white bodies on the front line. I can attest to that because Joanna and I have spoken to local police chiefs. And we've had meetings with them talking about their policy. And we got those meetings. Who the fuck are we? And B, we were both in our own way very curt and not kind to a lot of these police chiefs, and specifically former Chief Casper in Northampton. So I can see, I believe that you're saying, please, we need you. They'll treat this differently, and that's true. So white folk listening, listen to your black and brown brothers and sisters when they say, if they say they need you, do it. If they say, leave us the fuck alone, don't white knight it. But it's true. What you said, your gut, in my opinion, I feel like you're correct. So please tell us more about the sit-in itself, how it came about, how quick did it come around? Was it like kind of a grassroots thing? Did people just start doing it and then it reached a little bit of a critical mass? And where are you at in the process?
Our sit-in, it was planned for this week. Or
was it?
Yeah,
It
was planned to take place this week.
Yeah. So the backstory there. I think it began. I was the leader of the divestment committee last semester in SJP, and we realized like we took from the climate change divestment, the fossil fuel divestment that Smith had done, and it took about 12 years for the movement to reach from the students to the administration to them to finally divest. And we were like, okay, Palestinians don't have 12 years. We're going to do the bureaucracy. We're going to follow the bureaucracy. And then as soon as the bureaucracy starts to reject us, that's when we fight back. And that's when we resist in more tangible and like realistic ways. So we submitted a proposal to the Advisory Committee on Investor Responsibility in about late November of last year. They said they were meeting about it. They sent it back to us and they were like, you need to make it less Palestine specific and more general war specific. We were like, okay, we can do that. We make it more war specific. They sent it back again and they were like, you need to have more student signatures. You need to have like more people supporting this because it doesn't seem like there's a lot of students who support this. Like you don't have the people to support this. We get a petition. We get 600 signatures of like community members, students, faculty, all of that. Then they finally, this time, instead of responding to us and sending it back to us, send an email to the whole school that says that the Advisory Committee on Investor Responsibility has decided not to divest because it's like 1% of the endowment is invested in weapons manufacturing. That's negligible. We are essentially divested. We don't have the time, energy, or effort for this. As soon as we get that email, it's like a Monday afternoon.
It's a Tuesday because we were sorry. It's a Tuesday. Me and some other students from SJP, we were tabling in the CC, which is like we're sitting at a table, we're handing out flyers on divestment, zines about the 1986 sit-in to force Smith to divest from South Africa apartheid. And we were tabling from like 1 and the email comes out at 4 and there was a huge energy shift. Everybody was walking up to us like, how can I get Smith to divest? What do I need to know about divestment? And then we kind of started going from there.
Yeah. And after we got that email, the entire school was just even people who don't necessarily support divestment were kind of like shocked, because how can you say you're negligibly invested and then refuse to divest? Because if it's so negligible, then clearly it shouldn't matter to you guys. If it's only 1%, like why does it matter to the administration? That's not going to change the landscape of financial aid. It's 1%, And we mobilized very quickly after that. We had a rally that Wednesday, which is like literally the next day. We had a rally. I spoke at the rally. We marched to College Hall and we began the sit-in. And it was originally like Saturn said, it was scheduled for this time because we didn't want to interfere with like aid or anything like that. But it was the response that we needed to have. And that's the sit-in began that afternoon. A facilities officer assaulted a student who was trying to get supplies in through the window
because they closed the building an hour earlier than it was scheduled to be closed. So we didn't have all of the different things that we needed.
Yeah, like we didn't have like sleeping pads. We didn't have like anything of the sort. The sit-in began. It was 13 days. That weekend, we get an email from the president. So that Saturday, it starts on Wednesday. We got an email that Saturday that was like, hey, I'm coming to see you guys. I'm coming to have a meeting. And all of us are like, well, fuck, we're going to get arrested. Like we're going to get arrested and they're going to take us out of College Hall. And we start prepping for that. And the whole sit-in just kind of felt like from one crisis to another. Mm-hmm. Like the minute we're planning something and we're like finally sitting down to talk about like white accountability or something like that, we get an email from the president. She's like, I'm coming right now. it's like just a scramble, but honestly, like it would have been genuinely impossible without all of the support that the community gave us and how quickly everyone mobilized around us. Like my friends were passing me things through the window. Like we just like created this like really incredible system. And yeah, it was great.
One thing that I feel like is important to note is they cut our Wi-Fi off on the first or second day, but sometimes the Wi-Fi would come back on, but only so that we could get an email from the president.
It would go out as soon as the president would send the email. And they cut out our heat a couple times. They cut out our heat on the night it snowed, actually. So it was snowing here. It's like April 1st, snowing. Heat's gone. Everyone's fucking freezing. Like it was terrible. It was terrible. The administration claims to support us in any way that they can, but by support they mean they mean cutting out our heat and Wi-Fi. Like we don't want your support. Like leave us the fuck alone. Like
and admin does this thing where they're saying that they want to protect students, they want students to be able to access certain things, but they have repeatedly tried to isolate SJP members and like people in SJP to act like we're not students, but like we are students and we deserve that same protection, but we have not gotten that protection. We've gotten dismissal from administration, we've gotten threats, doxing.
I've received some Instagram DMs with like from burner accounts all being like, stop your hatred of Jews and stuff like that. And it's like, well, no, actually.
We don't hate Jews. Just for anybody that doesn't know, this isn't about hating Jews. This is about hating imperialism and genocide and ethnic cleansing, which sorry to take the mic here, but this is something that's really been getting at my craw, where people don't realize that there's an ongoing genocide here in the United States against the indigenous the native land, the native people that live here. That ethnic cleansing never stopped. Treaties are being ignored now. So Joe Biden is no better than Netanyahu. So even if you say he's not responsible for what Netanyahu and that cabinet and that government does, it's like, well, he's doing this. They learned from us. It's like so obvious. And by us, I mean, the Western empire. I don't know, like it's 5 capitalists in a trench suit, but it's scary standing up to, especially the place you pay a lot of money, and they can keep that money and kick your ass out.
Yeah, they can.
And it's scary what you're all doing.
Yeah, and I think a really big fear for a lot of us has like, one of the reasons we wanted so many people inside College Hall is because if there's only like 12 of us in there, it's easy for them to expel 12 students. Like they don't care. But
when there's 50 of us, that's 2% of the Smith College student population.
They can't expel 50 like students. So it was really awesome to see how many people mobilized around us to make that not a possibility. But when we left College Hall, we got an email from the president. The whole student body got an email from the president where she was like, I love seeing the activist space that this has created. Like, I'm so proud of Smithies for being activists. And then at the end of the email, she's like, however, all the students will be getting conduct boarded for their actions. And it's like, okay, well, if you care about activist spaces, why are we getting conduct boarded? Like, yeah, they were taking pictures of us through windows to identify us.
And they said that the people outside supporting us had no right to privacy.
Yeah.
In addition to the private security agency that they hired to watch us from 6 p.m. to 6 a.m.
Green Mountain Concert Services was stationed at every single door.
Modern day Pinkertons.
Yeah. And then President Sarah was like, she sent us an email, one of many, where she was like, I'll get you guys a meeting with the board if you all vacate and reveal your identities to us. and none of us left, and none of us revealed our identities, and we still got the meeting with the board. So like that's on her. But yeah.
And I think another thing that helped us is like we have seasoned activists in SJP, and we also had the support of professors who were student activists when they were at Smith, when they were at their other institutions. So they were able to affirm what we were already thinking, like, this is not a good email, don't leave, essentially.
Yeah. And we have a lot of people who have worked with demilitarized Western Mass. I worked in Durham as a minor, so I didn't really do any arrestable actions, but I got a lot of like insight into arrestable actions with the movement around redlining in Durham. Specifically, in downtown Durham, a lot of the Black communities were being forced out because they wanted to build this like beautiful downtown. So it's been really nice to like bring in that experience, but also like get so much from this. Like I really have learned more from activism with SJP than I've learned in like a lot of my classes. And that's been like really incredible. It's just like this like body of students that we are working with is such an incredible group of people, and like all of them have just bring such incredible insight to everything, and like I could not do it without them.
And for the audience at home, could you just reiterate one more time what your demands are and how far along you got? Just give us a summary one more time, and what possible next actions or next demands may be.
Okay. So our primary demand for the rest of the semester, considering we have like 3 weeks left, is to just capitalize on this momentum that we've gotten, and really push for divestment as much as we can from weapons manufacturing. We are currently talking to the president about scheduling another meeting with the board of trustees in order to divest. But then next semester, we're going to come back, we're going to regroup, and we're going to really refocus on a lot of our on the rest of our demands. So we'll have divestment, of course, but I'm really particularly interested in creating this Palestinian scholarship fund to support Palestinian refugees from Gaza who maybe find Smith and like, that seems like an incredible school, but their family has been like ravaged by war and they have no way of paying. There's this like specific visa you can get where instead of an employer sponsoring your visa, the way a lot of work visas do, the college would sponsor your visa. So we're hoping to get Smith to sponsor some Palestinian refugees and really like allow them opportunities that they never would have gotten had they remained in Palestine, in Gaza, because of this imperialist bombardment of their home. We are also, again, wanting to refocus on care for Arab and Muslim students, Arab and MENA students, and shutting down L3 Harris is a really big cause for us. So we really want to, of course, divestment is incredible, and Smith divesting would be incredible, as A, it would set a precedent for other private schools to divest, and B, like that's $25 million not going to weapons manufacturing. Like that's a big amount of money. But also like shutting down the actual production of weapons at this L3 Harris that's happening like a mile away from us, like that stops the weapons from being made. Even if they lose that money, those weapons would not be made, and that is a really big goal for us.
This Sunday we're having a town hall for divestment, and we've invited the president of the college, we've invited members from the board of trustees, the ACIR, the investment committee, as well as all students, staff, faculty, people from the 5 colleges, and community members, because one thing that they have emphasized to us over and over again is that they need to see the community support for divestment. And we hope that by doing this town hall, we'll be able to like continue the conversations around divestment and show Smith that we are not stopping until they divest. Yeah. And even after they divest, we still have more work to do.
Yeah. One frustration I have with the town hall, as excited as I am for it to happen, we already have a petition, a new one that we created over the sit-in at College Hall, where we asked for community support to show the board of trustees that the community support divestment, the community supports what we're doing. And we got like 2,500 signatures on that petition. So I don't know how many times we have to prove to them that the community does not want their tuition money going to war. But like that's the nature of bureaucracy, I guess. It continuously moves the goalposts for us. But we have so many people and we're just gonna keep fighting back. And
yeah, the violence of bureaucracy. I mean, we're primarily an abolitionist podcast, but you know, military, cops, it's all the same to me.
Everything's connected.
Right? Like, to me, the reason I'm a white guy, you see me, right? The reason I get so violently fucking angry about this shit is because I went to a Catholic school and I was a troublemaker. Like, I got labeled that shit early on, and I probably just had some sort of learning disability or some sort of neurodivergence, like something like that, that just would have required some sort of intervention. But no. And the way they put their boot on your neck, they control your hair, they control your fucking attitude, they control your posture, they control the clothes you wear. I see all, and I see no difference in any of this. None of it. It's all the same. Like the small little infractions to the big, you know, to the actual walls with the towers and the cameras. Like it's all the same bullshit. It's the same mentality. So I'm fortunate to be able to connect those dots. Other people have to fucking live it. And unfortunately, y'all have to live it. I hope it's not too many of your classmates, but that are giving you the side eye or not supporting you. But it's gotta hurt, and I feel for you. Like I don't know what that feels like, but like I feel for you. Like it pisses me off, just to be frank. But
something that's really been frustrating me, and I hope this changes, is in all of the conversations we've had with our president, she has refused to acknowledge the pain that Arab and Muslim students are experiencing. She said what did she say? She was like,
a lot of people are scared, particularly Jews and Christians.
Like what? Like I carry a knife now because of these death threats. Like I have a knife on me at all times now. But like that doesn't matter because like yeah.
There's just like at Smith, it's very obvious the type of student that Smith prioritizes and the white supremacy that Smith prioritizes, because white supremacy does not allow us to stray from the status quo. And some of us are born straying from the status quo, but Smith, that's not on Smith's radar. They say that they're committed to a lot of different things, but never once has it felt like they were committed to the safety of Black and brown students.
no, and a place like Northampton itself, where y'all live, is on its face, they have this Black Lives Matter flags in people's windows. But you know, if you look, the Northampton police themselves in 2016 actually flexed in an article that all of our stops are for out of towners. We're not harassing our in towners. It's like, did you just admit to being a sundown town?
Like what?
Pull people out of town, and who would be coming from out of town? If it's from south, it's Puerto Rican or a Black person, or a poor ass white person from the Springfield, Westfield area. So like, what are you trying? Like, what's your flex here? At best, you're just a classist, and you're going after poor people from out of town. At worst, you're a fucking racist too, and you're admitting to it. And Smith College just doesn't say anything about that.
They don't. I constantly hear from other Black students that they're being followed when they go downtown. They're being called the N-word. I have been fired from my job for being Black in Northampton, but this is still the liberal Black Lives Matter, love is love, all of this foolishness.
And yeah,
have a rainbow crosswalk and then like be racist. Like that's just not how that works. Like
and you know, there's a lot of pandering in this town. But I have to say, we found each other. You know, there is a little safety. We have a little bit of safety as far as speaking out about, I mean, and I'll speak for myself, I won't speak for you, but for me, it's relatively, considering what I say on the internet and on a podcast, I'm shocked I don't get more death threats.
yeah.
I'm dead ass serious. Like it's absolutely shocking that I don't get more. I mean, yeah, you get the doxing threats and all that shit, but but Massachusetts itself is a fucking dude. Look how the highways are built. The railroads. Look where they built all that shit. It's to purposely cut off communities. It's so obvious. And yeah, the blue blood Massachusetts people are fucking. They're just as bad as the plantation owner families.
They are.
Yes,
And
they
we're
are.
all infected.
I'd argue they're worse because they're lying about it.
That's a great point. That's an.
I agree.
This is how I feel about the MAGA versus the blue MAGA folks.
Yeah, it's like
I'd rather you just tell me you're a racist than be like, love is love, Black Lives Matter, unless they're under apartheid somewhere, or you know, in America or elsewhere.
a Biden bomb and a Trump bomb is the same bomb to a Palestinian. So
Right, exactly. Oh, I hope I never hear this said again, and I will. Is Trump's genocide will be worse? It's like, come on, this is not real. This is not a real conversation we're having. I'm sorry, I shouldn't be laughing. It's really
no, like you're right though. Like
we have to laugh to keep ourselves alive, and that's
that is the sad reality.
yeah.
you gotta be. I mean, it's dark out there, but you have your community. You have your people that are like-minded. So there, in the darkness, there is light. And I don't know, how can the audience follow you and possibly support you? And what are you looking for if you are looking for anything?
So at Smith SJP, on Smith_SJP on Instagram. If you are not a fan of Instagram, we also have a newsletter that gets sent out. So you might have to go on Instagram to find where you can sign up for that. But we have a newsletter we send out almost monthly. We need to work on that. But
yeah, that's our plan after this is we're working on the newsletter.
So what I'll do is on the so everybody knows, on the website on www.theweedout.com, under every episode we put the relative links that get mentioned. So we'll link all that in the show notes, and as well as anybody listening, you can just go to the social media and find it there. But if you can't find it for whatever reason, just go to the website and we will have it all there. And how can people help?
Yeah, anyone in Western Mass, like, come to our events. We love to have community members there. We have the town hall on Sunday, but we also have a benefit concert on Friday for Gaza. All of the proceeds from that are going to be donated to Gazan families that we personally have contact with, who we know that the money will get them out of Gaza into Rafah, out of Rafah into like greater Egypt, and to find a safe home to live in. Yeah, we have that concert. We just have a lot of events where we're trying to make the administration as annoyed as they possibly can be with our presence. And our leaving College Hall, we didn't talk about this, but our leaving College Hall was because of the inaccessibility of the space and how inaccessible it became to the people that were in there. So we had to leave. But our leaving was not an admission of defeat. It was an expansion of our occupation onto the entire campus, with a primary hub on Sealy Lawn, which is one of the main lawns. So come visit us there. We had a workshop just now that I just came from. We have workshops every day. We're doing tons of awesome stuff. And yeah, just come to our events and donate.
Again, Renal, Saturn, and everybody that you're representing, that you know, your coalition. Thank you so much for doing this action, this direct action. There's a multitude of tactics that us community as decentralized groups can do, and the overlapping, showing up to a protest, and if that's not your thing, at least sharing it on social media. If, like, me personally, I stay out of those situations because trouble tends to find me and I tend to not turn away from it. So I found that being on a microphone and getting the story out is better suited for me. But that's to be said, sometimes I go to these things. So anybody listening, like, be inspired. At least follow these people on social media and get their story out. Because maybe if you share it, somebody, you don't even live near there, you live in Boston, you can maybe you share it as well because it's interesting to you, and your friend that lives in Northampton will be like, I didn't know they were doing that. I didn't know y'all were doing that until Northampton Abolition Now posted something about it.
Yeah.
So, like, that's how it all works. And yeah, so keep up the fucking fight, and please, you have an open invite anytime. If you got to get a message out, you can always DM me. I'll get it on the social media. because we're just this doesn't need to be the way it is. I don't have the answer, but it doesn't need to be this way.
No, that's so true.
Like everybody is looking for the magic bullet. It's like I don't think there is one. I just think we're truthful about, and I wish there was, man. I'd be the first person to pull that goddamn trigger, but it's not the way it goes. And you know, we try to promote peace and love here, but you know, read books, punch Nazis, and I don't know. So if you have any final thoughts you'd like to share with the audience before we get out, and I don't know, you're always welcome to come back and tell us more about what's going on.
Yeah.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you so much for having us. Yeah.
Absolutely. And again, you're welcome back anytime. And any way we can help, we will gladly help you. And for myself and Joanna and everybody in the Weed Out crew, that's behind the scenes with us, our loved ones, we all love what you're doing. We're talking about it in the group message. So I appreciate it and look forward to hearing what goes on in the future.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Take care, everyone. And we'll see you next time. And remember, you can always find the information on the show notes, www.theweedout.com. Follow us on the social medias, like, share, subscribe, etc. Do all the things. And let's keep weeding out the bullshit.